So, hello student, today we are going to do some revision for science. Okay, so this is paper 2021 May paper for variation 62. Okay, let's dive into our first class. Okay, let's look at this question. A student investigate the rate of a yeast cell. Let's highlight the important word lah. Student investigate the rate of yeast cell. So I don't know. I'm thinking like maybe he want to just know the rate of the respiration. Yeast is a single organism similar to the plant. Yeast is a single cell organism. The student uses methyl blue indicator, a solution methyl blue indicator as the yeast cell respire. So it loses its color if the cell respire. So maybe you want to know how fast it respire, how much. Put 5 yeast suspension to ABC, add the volume of the glucose solution and then methyl blue in the test tube. So we can see that the glucose, even we haven't read the questionnaire, but we should able to understand it. Like if the glucose is more, then of course there's more respiration. If there's less glucose, there's less respiration. Like if a person don't eat, then he cannot respire, he will die. If a person eat, then he will respire. Place the test tube in the 40 Celsius, record the time. This one, if the time taken longer than 5 minutes, the student records value of above 300. Repeats the procedure. Okay, so this is a procedure that he do. So this is investigation of glucose against respiration. Wait, just let me take my pen. Where's my pen? And respiration. More glucose means more respiration. Okay, so at least we know the hypothesis. Record it. So you record it, it will be 205 for this one and 44 for this one. Okay, you 6 times 3 times 6, 180 plus 25, you will get 205. State the conclusion. So what is the conclusion? The conclusion is, let's see the student answer. The higher volume of 5% glucose solution, the shorter time taken to lose its blue color. So they increase the volume of the glucose. The answer, actually I still give mark. The better answer will be if there is more glucose, there is the greater respiration. There is a answer in the marking scheme. But this one I still give correct. The higher volume of 5% glucose solution. Okay, why I say that this answer not that good? Because here the student say got 5%. Okay, when we do this experiment, we need to know why we want to do this experiment. We do this experiment because we want to know that if more glucose, then there's more respiration. We don't want to do experiment if there are more 5% glucose, then there are more respiration. It doesn't really matter 5%, 6%, 7%, as long as it's a constant percentage. So that's why I say that this answer not so good, because this is not the main point. The main point means more glucose, the greater respiration. So this one actually should omit out. Because what's the aim of the experiment? The aim of the experiment is not to study the 5%. The aim of the experiment is more glucose, greater respiration. You can use 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to you. But of course, it's a constant variable. I hope that you understand what I'm saying. Suggest why the student repeat the investigation. Very good. To avoid anomalous, as long as you got this word to avoid anomalous result or to spot anomalous result, then you will get point. Anomalous result means the weird result suddenly become 100 or 1000 or 9 million weird result. Okay, so you put correct. Identify one variable that is keep constant, amount of yeast suspension. Very good. Many things you want to keep constant. For example, you can say the type of yeast, the amount of yeast, some more volume of methyl blue, the temperature, many things lah you can say, okay, but one of the thing is the amount of yeast suspension, correct or not, 5 or okay, or the concentration of the glucose 5%. We don't want to use 5%, 6%, 7%. You can use that if you want to test different experiment. For example, like I can say the experiment, if there are higher concentration of glucose, there are more respiration. So we need to redesign the whole experiment. But now we are talking about the volume. But the volume need to be fixed in the next experiment. You get what I mean? So anyway, it's something like that. It depends on your hypothesis, your objective of your experiment. So so far so good. So far so good. The student wants to find out test tube, see it can be used up. Name the testing solution the student uses and give the color option is a negative result. Negative result means is nothing. Nothing means if you use a benzenic solution, it will become blue. If there are something, what will happen? So of course, if it is positive, it is brick red precipitate, brick red color. But orange also is correct. Orange red, but orange red is means that not that much. Okay, if not that much of sugar, it's more sugar, it will be more red. So it will become orange if little bit sugar. But it's very hard to see because when we are talking about color, we can roughly say more glucose or more concentration, but because it's color so color, color is a very subjective thing, the way sometimes some experiment, like when they give the person see blue, some people say it might be like gray or what, I don't know, and some people is more not that sensitive to light. Like some people are more sensitive to music, sound. Some people are more sensitive to light. But it's something that we don't know. Like maybe you are more sensitive to light than me. And don't know. Until die only maybe we can know. The student think that carbon dioxide gets given off. So how to test carbon dioxide? Use lime water. Turns milky. Very good. You get 1 point. Very easy. Figure 1.2 show the cell blah blah blah. It mixes into 500,000 size. 500 times. Okay. Nim measure the length. So the student measure it 45. I still give correct. The answer is 48. The reason the student get 45 because he print out the paper. The scaling a bit off. So okay lah. But I know if the student write 40, 30 means it must be wrong. Because you print it, but you do in IGCSE paper, I think you should able to get 48. Or depend on your printer setting lah, or you say no scaling for your printer, you can set like that. Calculate the actual length. 45 divided by 5,000, you get actually 0.009. The answer is 0.009, but the student write 9.10 power of negative 3. I still give correct 0.009 is actually 9 times 10 negative 3. It is still correct. Make sure the unit is here. So okay. Make sure the unit are very important. Many students lose mark in the unit. In the box period, make a large. Very good. I like this picture. Very big. It should be at least half of the paper. So the student got 3 marks first because the first mark is because the image is clear and a continuous outline. Means it's a round, it's a finished figure. Point number 2 the student get is it must have at least half of the box. But this one is very good, 70% of the box. Don't draw small. Draw small means you got lesser mark. And the student also get 1 more point because there's a large vacuole. The vacuole is shown, but I didn't minus 1 mark. In IGCSE we cannot minus mark, but I didn't give 1 more mark because what the question say. The question say showing the vacuole. Where's my highlighter? Make a large clear line in the yeast showing the cell wall and vacuole. So I think the student, the reason is I didn't take because the student didn't label it. Okay, so the marking scheme didn't say label. The question also didn't say label. but it show the cell wall and vacuole, so I give correct lah. Wait, let me adjust this one. Comment, let me take my pen. So this one I still give correct. So the student will get 4 mark for this one. 4 mark. But I think it is better to label lah. This one I'm not sure. But I think it's better to label like cell wall. You draw properly. Cell wall is here. Okay, you don't draw here. Here is cell membrane. Cell wall and vacuole. You just label it, because if you label it, it is still correct. I mean, like, you cannot give it wrong because it is labeled. But if you didn't label, I'm not sure that whether there is a minus of mark. But the question didn't say lah, but I feel it's better lah, because it say they'll show cell wall and vacuole ma. So you show it out by labeling, which I think is better. And even if not, also he cannot minus your mark, okay? Because nothing wrong of just writing the word. Okay, a student investigate solid P. Number 2, a student should investigate a solid P, and I don't know why it's P. Add water in the test tube, measure the temperature, add 2 spatulata of F, stir the F, measure the temperature and the solution 0.5, pour the solution in the 2 test tube. Okay, so you do, then the thermometer reading is, this one will be around 16, this one will be 20 what? 20.05, so 20.05, 16.0 get 2 mark. Remember, if you didn't put the 0.0, you don't get mark, okay? Because the question already say nearest 0.5, either your answer must be 0.5 or 0.0. So if you just write 16, you will only get 1 mark. Okay, this one will be wrong. But this one very good, 16.0. So you will get 2 mark. In the endemic process, energy is endemic. You still remember, because now in exam you need to remember already. Endemic means the decrease in the temperature. Explain your answer. Why is it endemic? Because there is a decrease in temperature. That is one of the definition. But we know it's the decrease in temperature because the graph already shown. Another one is because heat is being absorbed. Heat is being absorbed endothermic, but we cannot see from this graph that, or this table, heat is being absorbed. But we can see that the temperature decrease, showing that heat being absorbed. Okay, so this is an endemic process because there is a decrease in temperature. The student add 3 drops of universal indicator solution to one of the test tube F. The individual turns orange red. Orange red. Orange red is here. Use pH chart to estimate the pH. So if the answer will be around 1 to 4. So it's up to you lah. You want to write 2, 3, 4 so can. Okay, 2, 3, 4 lah. Oh, cannot. You cannot write 4. Sorry. It must be 2 and 3 only. 2 and 3 only. Because it say here red orange ma. So red orange is the middle here. So it must be either 3 or 4. Oh, this is correct. Hey, this one I write wrong. 3 or 4. Explain why using pH chart does not give the value. I think the best answer is difficult to distinguish between color. As I say, color is very subjective. When we say something is red, how red is it? When we say something is blue, how blue is it? And my blue and your blue is different, you know. So it's difficult to distinguish between color. Or you can say only give pH as a whole number. So I didn't give it correct. Color chart might have faded color or printing error. I didn't give correct because it is not in the marking scheme. Of course, it's still correct but because it's not in the marking scheme, so I just didn't give the one. But of course, the better answer I think would be There are 3 answers lah, but I think the best answer is difficult to distinguish between color, because each person, maybe I'm colorblind, that's why I'm thinking whether when I say this answer I'm biased or not, because I got slightly colorblind. So when something relate to color, it is more difficult for me to do. C, the student add a volume and aqueous sodium hydroxide to the test tube or containing of solution. F, the student warm a mixture carefully and test the gas from the damp litmus paper. Wait, I don't know what I'm reading. The student conclude that ammonia gas is formed. Let me read again. Aqueous sodium hydroxide. Okay. To another, so mix aqueous sodium hydroxide to ammonium, and then you test with red litmus paper, and the student concludes that ammonia being formed. Okay. Describe what happened to the piece of damp litmus paper during the test for ammonia. It will turn blue, correct? Okay, means if it is alkaline. Okay, red to blue. Identify the ion. Okay, so the ion will be ammonium. Okay, due to the ions that is positive ion in this thing lah, ammonium, NH3. Sodium hydrogenate carbon is white solid that react with dilute nitric acid action in the word blah 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 plus blah blah blah, you get blah 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 plus blah 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 plus blah blah blah. Okay. When hydrocarbonate is added to dilute nitric acid, it produces a bubble. Time taken for the reaction, you are provided with this. I want to know what he want to test. Let me think. So then what is added? You are provided with this. You may use the common thing. Apparatus, you need how to measure. You may label the diagram as you wish. I'm looking for what is the objective of this experiment. Sodium hydroxide is a white solid that reacts with nylon hydroxide in equation. When the fizzing stop, the reaction is complete. The time takes for the reaction to be complete is called reaction time. Plan an investigation to find out the reaction time depend on concentration. So this is the keyword. The hypothesis, correct or not? The hypothesis is the manipulated variable will be the concentration. I put X lah. This one will be Y. Y will be the responding variable. If more concentrated, maybe the reaction time will be faster. Less concentration, the reaction time will be slower. More concentration means faster. You already know this lah from the book. Okay. If you don't know, then you don't know also never mind. For this question, you no need to really know all the thing. You don't know also, it doesn't really matter, because it's to design the experiment. If you say that if the high concentration of nitric acid, the reaction time is faster, you also could get correct. If the concentration is higher, the reaction time is lower, you also will get correct. The reason you will get correct because it's a hypothesis. What is hypothesis? You already learned. Hypothesis is a proposal. You haven't tested it yet and you don't know. So when the conclusion comes, either the hypothesis is accepted, more concentration means more time, or the hypothesis is rejected. More concentration does not mean more time. I don't know. So hypothesis can be accepted or rejected when you go to university. But of course, now is you are a student, so every time when you read book, the hypothesis is always accepted. But when you go to university, your hypothesis might be rejected. But rejected doesn't mean it is a bad thing. Rejected, it is a data. It shows something for the experiment. So that's why we go to university. If not, later you do experiment, your experiment hypothesis rejected, means you will fail your school university life. No. When your hypothesis rejected, you are still contributing data to the society. But anyway, we leave that for another day. You are provided with blah blah blah, then distilled water. You may use the common laboratory plan. So now you need to plan it. So in your mind, you need to imagine. Imagine that, okay, I want to take beaker A, beaker B. I put it, then I put it, then it fizzle. I take the time watch. Okay, now I repeat it with bigger B with more concentration. Then I take the time walk, I see it fizzle, then I stop, then I record it out. Then after I finish A, B, C, D, E, then you need to imagine okay? Then maybe after that I record all in the table. After I record in the table, I will transform the data to the graph. Then from the graph, I can interpret the graph to say that either the hypothesis is accepted or rejected. But for you guys, it's usually accepted. So okay, so you already imagine. You must able to imagine. Now you just need to write into words. So I think the student did very good because it's a full mark. We are not going to go to the marking scheme because it's very detailed. So the prepare the beaker, you get 1 mark. You don't write, prepare more thing beaker, measure cylinder, balance something, you get 1 point. Measure the 100 gram and 3 beaker. Very good you use 3 beaker. Don't say use 2 For me, I like to use 5. Sometimes you got mark one, but for this one, you don't get mark for 5 different concentration. But it's good to write 5 because 5 beaker rather than 3 beaker or 2 beaker. Because you will your experiment will be more details, correct or not? When you go to university, your lecturer will ask you, why you use 3, you don't want to use 5? You need to explain, because I forgot. Then you fail you lah. You need to say, okay, I need to use 5. Then the lecturer might say, why you don't use 10? Then you say maybe 10 is too much or out of budget, or maybe 5 is already, the data is sufficient to represent the population, something like that. So when the lecturer asks, you're able to answer. Not like, I like to choose 2, I like to choose 5, I like to choose 100. So there must be a reason for everything that we do. So I think 5 is better lah. But anyway, I still give correct because it is correct, okay? Again, I say 5 not because I like to say 5, because the exam scheme, some exam schemes say 1 to 5 thing to get to spot anomalous result. So up to you lah. 3 beaker each, you still get the mark. 5, 10, 15, very good. If you put 5, then you put maybe 20-25%. Be careful, wear the glove and prevent skin irritation. You get 1 mark for the the precaution. Because this one you need to say apparatus you needed, description, safety precaution, what you measure, what you want to keep constant. This one so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, 4 mark, 5 mark. Maybe this one 6, 7. Usually I will do like this lah. Or maybe here another 2 mark because precaution is longer cannot be precaution you only 1 mark, right? Take the beaker and put the beaker 1 mark, cannot be, right? So that's why usually here it will be around 2 mark. And how you interpret or how you want to present the data, maybe you still got 2 mark. Write more lah. I think the student did very good because the student write quite long. You see, he used from here right until the bottom. I think this is very good because you never know when you just write you hit the answer. You don't out of the topic lah. You can write long as long as you got hit the answer, you get 1 point. Okay, irritation. Where was I? Wear the glove. Measure the weight, hydrocarbon, blah blah blah. Measure the time, very good. You get 1 point for this. Make sure to keep the volumetric. This one I didn't give mark because I think it's already repeated from up there. And it also depends on the marking scheme. But I won't minus mark. Even you say this, it doesn't mean that you write wrong means you need to minus mark. No. It's a time taken for the research. Higher concentration of nitric acid shows that higher concentration, 1 mark. Concentration sound very good. The student even draw a graph. If you could draw a table, it's even better. But I still give 1 mark lah, even though you draw a table. Because from the table only you can draw graph, correct or not? But if you go draw the table, wait, let me see. Table no mark, graph got mark. But if you draw the table doesn't mean it's wrong, it is still correct. I mean, if I'm the university lecturer, it shows that the student understand more about the experiment. But you put properly lah, the manual variable, the labeling, everything you put properly. And the graph is very good. There's a labeling, there's the unit percent, there's a unit for second, and I just leave the graph empty because you are planning the experiment. You are not doing the experiment. We are not taking the IGCSE, there's one more paper experiment, but you don't need to take that one. Okay, very good. So I give the student 7 mark. You total up there, I think it's 8.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 point. But I just give 7 mark. Because maximum is 7 mark. Cannot get 8 mark. Okay, question number 4. A student determine the cross section of the resistance of the wire. So usually you know lah. Question number 4 is always about electric, and so no need to spot the question. You also know that question 4 will come out electric. So I also will say question 4 electric will come out. Show the cross section of the wire, blah blah blah. There's the wire. Procedure, resistance wire. Okay, so this one you can adjust it lah. The C, whether you can put here, you can put here, or put here. But of course if you put here means there is a high resistance lah. High resistance. If you put here, it will be lower resistance. Okay. Complete the circuit by connecting C, the resistance of 400 mm from the X. Okay. Closes the switch. Closes the switch means the circuit is on. Record the answer. I write the data following the circuit potential difference between X and Z. Open the switch. Then you open again. Show a voltmeter ammeter reading of 400. Record the value. So already show value. Remember to put 1.8. All the decimal point remember to put. So 1.45, no problem. This one is what? 0.882 is it? 0.82. Very good. 0.82. Get 2 mark. The student repeat the length 500, 700, 800, 900, 1000. Suggest why is it good experiment technique to open. Why you want to open the switch? Open, close. Open, close. Okay, why? Because you want to prevent the wire from heating, as it will affect the resistance. As you close too long, it will become hot, then the resistance might increase. As the resistance increase, it might snap, or it is not accurate anyway when you do like that. So of course to get accurate reading, but why you can get accurate reading? Because to prevent wire from heating, as it could affect the resistance. Calculate R. So R equals to V divided by I. So the student already do is 1.8. Okay, so you get 2 mark for this. But no working. But the answer marking scheme, there is no working. Okay, so you still get mark. That's why I say yeah. But it's better if you do the working lah. R equals to 1.45 divided by 0.82. You never know the exam paper. Sometimes they require you to do working 1 point and answer 1 point. So it's just better to just do the working. Okay. C, plot the graph. So the graph is very good. There's a labeling. There's a unit. So you get 1 point for this. And there is a proper dot and the graph. So you get 1 point. 3 point. Use your graph to estimate the value of R. If the length is 6,000. So you get 2.7, you get 1 mark, correct? Very good. Calculate the gradient. Indicate in the graph. This one I didn't give any mark. Maybe 1 mark actually. Because the question say what? The question say indicate. What do you mean by indicate? On your graph. Indicate on your graph means indicate on your graph. Means you need to indicate on your graph. So you need to draw like mathematics lah. I think you guys know. So maybe let's say you take this point. Let's take an easy point. Where is the easy point? Maybe this point is easy lah. Take this point and take this point. Draw a line. So this is how you indicate in the graph. Then maybe you want to write the coordinate for this one is this 900 is it? I cannot see. Let's assume it's 900 lah, because my pencil is a bit thick. 900, and the coordinate for this one is 1. If you want you want to write it down. So you do x y minus y over x minus x. Okay, so you use 3.1 minus 1.8. Why the student do like that? 3.1 minus 1.8. Okay, this one your one mistake that student do in science also you cannot use too small. I cannot see the graph, but now after I talk then I know this graph is too small. It must be big. Even like this is even better. It must be big. The reason you want it big because you will get more accurate gradient. If I do like that, you try to do mathematics, you try to do like this and like this, it is not accurate one. You can do like this, then you do like this, you do a few times, then you average it, you will got the whole triangle. So the triangle actually is in the marking scheme. The triangle must be half of your graph. At least half. So I like to draw big 70%, 80%, 90%, 100% also is okay. But when you draw small, because the student say 3.1 by 1.8, you will get it wrong actually. It must be in the marking scheme. Let me read. The marking scheme that indication on graph of point chosen extending over at least half line length. At least half of this line. Okay? So be careful. I don't want you to lose mark because of this question. Make sure your graph is big, and then you do the y minus y over x minus x, x minus x. You know, let's say 4 minus 1 over 900 minus 0, for example. So you should get the answer. Actually, if can, you write the formula also. If can, I don't think it will help, but it's good okay. Because maybe you can get 1 point but no point. I didn't see science anyone write this formula got point. Okay, anyway, D, calculate the cross section of A, use the equation. So you do, you get the answer. Okay, just divided by G. I still give the point correct because they are following the up answer. Okay, so that's it for this paper. So thank you very much.